All right, welcome to the Profit Parables for Profit series. Welcome to the Parables for Profits series. Yes, it's a pleasure to welcome you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me this uh, for this session. My name is Olatunji Shobodu, and I will be your anchor for the entire series. As you're aware, we'll be together for the next 10 days. It's a 10-day adventure, a 10-day expedition into the all important collection of parables that Jesus told. And we'll be digging deep into these parables to see how we can take advantage of them. All right. So you may be joining me on different platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, and also, my people are there on the Zoom, the VIP category. You are all welcome. All right, let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. So the series is called Profit from Parables. Profit from Parables. And, I'd like to share some thoughts with you in this opening session. Today is the opening session. Today, I will be laying the framework for, the next couple of days. I would be making a case for why parables are so important and how you can take advantage of them, how they can bring you profit. Now, in this regard, as you would see, profit will be looked at over different elements. Okay, I will expose that soon. Now, we're going to be looking at how you can take advantage of these parables to grow your career. We're going to look at how you can take advantage of it to grow your business. We're going to look at how you can use it to leverage relationship building or relationship management. We're going to look at how it helps you to provide quality leadership. We're going to also look at how you can use these parables to manage as a guide to manage your finances effectively. And we're going to look at how you can use it to manage your investments effectively as well. Then, of course, there are three other aspects, where you have the opportunity to derive benefits, to derive profits, as it were, for your life. That's the development of your character. We would look at that. How to live a healthy life, we'll look at that, and also how to operate supernaturally, if you like, how to build your spirit man. So when we talk about profit, as far as extracting value from the parables of Jesus are concerned, we'll be talking about those 9 areas. And those are the priority areas, for all of us. Those are the priority areas for all of us. If we can extract benefits, if we can succeed in all those dimensions, there is nothing else, that we'll be looking for. That would be the height of fulfillment for us. This session, as with all of our sessions, are going to run for 45 minutes. And over the course of 45 minutes, we will cover the grounds that we need to cover for the day. Of course, the VIPs would extend for beyond 45 minutes, for another 45 minutes. And for those of you who may still be interested in joining, the VIP, the opportunity remains, available for you. The difference is that the VIP will stay for an extra 45 minutes. What would they be doing? They would have the opportunity to drill down with me on the issues that we have discussed. They will be able to ask questions. I will provide direct answers to their questions. And, that's the extra value, that they get. So you can join if you, are still interested. Go ahead. A link will be placed, on the screen for you. If you scan the code, you will be able to go to the page where you can register as a VIP. Okay, so let's proceed very quickly, to the meat of today's session. Let's look at the meat of today's session. Are you ready for a special encounter? Are you ready for a special encounter? This couple of days will deliver to you a special encounter. It will, and I hope that you are ready for it. One promise I want to make to you is that there is no way that you will pay attention to what we are discussing. There is no way that you will, if your heart is in this discussion, if you pick the things that we'll be talking about and you commit to understanding them, in addition, you also ensure that you put them to practice. You challenge yourself to put them to practice. I guarantee you that you are moving to a next level of life, a new course of life. That's my promise, for you. And I say that not because I am the one to make it happen, but because we're drawing from a source where things do not fail. We're drawing from wisdom that does not fail, that has been proven to work over many, 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 many years. Okay? So, do you want to resource your growth, your success, or your profit? And your profit, actually. If you want to do that, if that's of interest to you, if you need resources, if you need insight to drive and power your quest to grow in your career, to grow in your business, to grow in cash flow, and true profit, then you're in the right place. You're in the right place. What you need is to power your growth, your success, your profit with or through core principles. Core principles. All right. Principles are the foundation that promotes growth, that promotes success, that promotes profit. You want to see someone who is growing, who is experiencing growth personally, professionally, and in their business. They are written by certain fundamental principles. Not flying blind, I assure you. They are operating they're operating by a clear set of principles. If you will take time, if you and I went to study people that we admire, that we believe are doing well, what we will discover is that they operate by. They are not flying blind. They are not doing or playing trial and error. They are doing certain specific things. They are engaging principles, all right, in their pursuit. That's why they are getting results. Now, let me quickly submit to you here that the source of power, therefore, if it's principles that we're looking for, if principles are the foundation for growth, for success, for profit, then they can be found somewhere. They can be found in the parables of Christ. They can be found in the parables of Christ. I make bold to say that they can be found in the parables, and that's why, we have put together. That is what this session is all about, in the parables of Christ. Now, let's answer, yet another question. Do you want to change your trajectory in life? Do you want trajectory in life? Do you want to change your trajectory in life? Now, if you want to change trajectory in life, you need power. You want to change, you want change to take place, you need access to power. You know what is said. It says everything maintains, the state in which it is until requisite power is applied to it. Until requisite power is applied. So if you need power. You need power that is relevant to the situation, that can bring about the change. You need 10 power. Power that when it comes, on the scene, it will make what you desire to have. You need power that is sufficient or that is adequate. And you can, if you were to put a bottle of water on the table, now you just don't push it. If you want to turn that bottle of water over, there is enough force that you must apply, enough power that you must apply in order to push that bottle over. So you need relevant, you need potent, you need adequate power to apply if you want change. You are not happy with any situation in your life. You want change. You're aspiring to go up. You're aspiring to get promotion. You're aspiring to see more, volume of sales in your business. You're aspiring to improve even your character, you're aspiring to improve your health, you need access to power. You need access to power. You need to bring power into the equation. And power comes, principles, when you apply them, they make power accessible to you. When you apply principles, they make power accessible to you. That's, you know, why principles are so powerful. Now, before we go on, let me draw your attention to how you discover that it is time for you to make change happen for yourself. It is time for you to make change happen for yourself. You may be feeling comfortable. Maybe you are achieving results. Yet somehow you are restless. You are restless. You want to get more things done. You believe you can still do more than you are doing. You know, some things are just not falling into place the way you would like. You are now making, yes, you are making money. Yes, you are doing well, but, you believe that you can make more money. All right. Yes, you have so many customers. Yes, you are getting promoted, but you believe, for example, that your promotion can come at a faster rate. All right. Now, when you feel comfortable yet restless, it's time for change. It may also be that you want a greater sense of purpose. You're asking yourself, is this what life is all about? Is this all there is to it? Can this be all there is to it? There should be much more to this. There should be much more to life than this. You need change. Change needs to take place in your life. All right? Now, you may be accomplished, yet you're unfulfilled. You get the results, you meet the targets, but you're still not fulfilled. Change. Something needs to change. Change needs to happen in your life. You are living in the past. You are not correct. All right. You find that when people are discussing, you find that when you are thinking, you find that the kind of ideas that you put on the table or you put forward, they make it look as though you don't know what is going on. You are not correct. You are not flowing with the times. Change needs to happen. Change needs to happen. Or you have been stagnant. You have not made any move, no significant move, for an appreciable period of time. Change also needs to happen. Change also needs to happen when you are in that kind of situation. You may be bored. Yes, you are engaged, you have a business, or you are working somewhere. You generally, yes, it's not as if you are idle. You are not idle, but there is no excitement. There is no excitement. So you are craving excitement. You crave excitement. You want to be happy with something that you are doing. You need change to make change happen. Some people are at crossroads. All right, they're at a point in their lives. They don't know whether to turn right or to turn left. They don't know what the next steps will be. They don't know how to get to the next level. All right, they are overtaken by confusion. It's a point where you know that change is imperative. Change is imperative at that point in time. All right, you also may be experiencing, maybe you've just tried something, you have been at something, you have been trying to get, to achieve certain goals, you have been trying to implement certain projects, but you've tried, and you've just tried again, and you still failed. Change needs to happen. Something needs to happen. You need to do some things differently. Now, you may also be getting results, but it is the case that the results that you are getting, you are paying a heavy price for it. All right, change needs to happen. Or you are even performing, you are getting results, but you are noticing that you are not appreciated. All right, that's another problem. You can get results, but you may not be appreciated. It looks as if you are not around. Change also needs to happen. So you can appreciate. I did that so that I can provide a context for you to appreciate when change becomes imperative for you. And some people don't even know that they are at the point where they need to take steps, critical steps to effect change. Some know they like to make the change, but they don't know how. They don't have command of the principles that can, bring the kind of change that they need. Why are principles so powerful? Let's quickly look at that. I'm going to just, state what I have on your screen there. Life runs on principles. Life runs on principles. The system of the world runs on principle. Every outcome that you find in life is produced by principle. You may not know the principle, but every outcome is produced by a principle. Every outcome is produced by a principle. All right. So, principles are cast in stone. That's one piece of principle. 2 plus 2 is 4. It follows a principle. All right. It will always be 4. It will always be 4. Okay. So that's it. And that means that you can bank on that principle because it doesn't change anyhow. All right. You know what to put in order to get what kind of results. And that's the reason that some people fail. That's the reason they don't get the results they want. They have not taken time to establish what principle do I need to apply in this situation in order to get the kind of result that I want. So principles are cast in stone. They don't change. They don't change. All right. If you take, seed and you want to reap oranges, there you must plant orange seeds. You must nurture them, plant it in a particular ground. You must nurture them over, a period of time so that you can have the oranges. All of that follows a principle. If you do follow the principle, you will get the results that the principle says you will get. Don't you like that? That makes life easy. That thing that you are trying to achieve is not so difficult to achieve. What you have not discovered are the principles that you need to engage, that you need to implement, that you need to follow. All right. If you discover the principle and you give it what it takes, it will deliver the results that it promises. Every principle, gives you a promise, delivers a promise, and you can take delivery of a promise as long as you follow what the principle, the dictates of the principle. Principles are not partial. What do we mean? Principles work for you the same way they work for me. Principles don't discriminate between old and young. They don't discriminate between female and male. They don't discriminate between white and black. No. Everyone that respects a principle, everyone that does what the principle says we should do will get the result promised by the principle. I will not determine the result that you will get following the same principle that I am following. No, the principle will determine your result, just as it determines my result. Again, don't you like that? Principles, to that extent, they are dependable. To that extent, they are very dependable. All right? Because you can follow them. They provide you a guarantee. I know that if I plant orange seeds, I'm not going to reap mangoes. I should not expect to reap mangoes. If I do what I need to do properly, I am certain to reap oranges. I am certain to reap oranges. If that is the case, it shouldn't be difficult there. If what I want, if what is success for me is to, have a harvest, a bountiful harvest of oranges, then all I need to do is locate the principle required to produce oranges, to ensure that I understand it and to follow it through. If I can do that, I will succeed as an orange farmer. I will succeed exceedingly as an orange farmer. And the more I put that principle to work, the more it will deliver for me. The more it will deliver for me. So you can see why principles are so powerful. Now, having said that, why is it that we fail? Why do we falter? Why are we stagnated? Why is it that we can't make progress? Let me give you some reasons that you can think about so that it gets you ready for what we're going to discuss. This is the opening session of the Parables for Profit series, the 10-day program that will put in your hands, call your attention to the resources for growth, for success, for profit that parables of Jesus make available. All right. Why we fail, falter, and stagnate. We're running on trial and error. Many of us are running on trial and error. We don't know enough about how the business that we're engaged in succeeds. We don't know the principles to follow to engage in the pursuit of our business. We're taking it as it comes. We're doing it as we see it. That's not how to achieve success. Because every business, every endeavor in life, everything you want to set your hand upon to do in life, everything you want to engage in, there is a principle behind it. There are principles behind these things that make them to succeed. And when you are not following any principle, you're just doing trial and error. Let me do this. This might work. Let me do this. And at times, you see some of those things you do, they produce some kind of results. But the problem is that those results become temporary because, with over time, some things now appear. Over time, the fact that you are not following certain principles, begin to show up. And then it will undermine the things that you thought had worked for you. You didn't know that it was pure chance that was bringing your results. You were thinking you knew you were doing the right thing. But you won't, if you are not running based on chance, if you are running based on a clear principle that you can explain to anyone that this is what I do, this is why I sell this product, this is why I use this price, then your results are going to be sustained into the future and growth will be assured. The second thing is that, you ignore relevant principles. You ignore relevant principles. You are not paying attention to the principles that guide your business. The other thing is that, yes, some people know the principles, but guess what? They are not implementing it right. They are not implementing it right. Again, the fact that you have orange seeds and that you've planted them in the ground does not mean that you will reap oranges. All right? You can't water the ground anyhow. You can't treat the ground anyhow. When they grow, you cannot treat it anyhow. There's a way to treat it so that you can get the results that you desire. You must not be ignorant of the principles. You must not execute the principles poorly. You know the principles, but you are not doing it according to what the principles say. All right? You even know the principles, but today you do it right, tomorrow you don't do it right. You are inconsistent in the practice of the principle. That's why failure, that's why stagnation is often encountered by many of us. In some cases, because we're in a hurry, because we want to do what the other man is doing, because we're comparing ourselves with others. In some cases, we attempt to circumvent the principle. We want to run ahead of the principle. We want to get results quick. And so we explore shortcuts. We call them shortcuts. And then we get into trouble because the shortcuts will backfire. Why? They run contrary to the principle. There is no way you plant oranges and you want it to grow in 30 days. It's not going to happen. Why? That's not what the principle says. That's not what the principle says. There's a minimum number of days that it will take for you to start reaping, harvesting oranges. And there are things you must do at specific periods, over that time. So in some cases, some people try principles for a while, they are not getting results, maybe because they have not understood it very well, and then they abandon it. This thing is not working, and they go back to their old ways of doing things, or they're looking for some other way of doing things, and then, they still do not get results. Like I said, at times you are deceived by the fact that we have done some things and we have gotten some results, and so we think that that's how it's going to be, when in fact we were not running on the base of principles. If you don't run on the base of principles, whatever it is that you may be doing, the situation will catch up with you. One day, the things you do or you've been doing that were producing some result for you, they will no longer work. Something will happen that will challenge them, and make sure they do not work. But if you were following principles, even when some things happen, you know how to respond. And so, you are empowered to overcome your difficulties. What's the real reason we talked about principles? What's the real reason? I want to drop this with you because I want to make a particular statement here that we falter or fail. It is because we lack what is called leverage. Leverage. We lack what is called leverage. In everything that any one of us is doing, we need leverage. We need leverage. Now, for this purpose, principles are a critical source of leverage. What is leverage? Leverage is the platform that empowers, that emboldens, and that guarantees success in the pursuit of your goals. You can look at, maybe if you look at the game of basketball, you want to be a good basketball player. Now, if you have somebody who is 7 feet or 7 feet 2, all right, and is playing with people who are 5 feet, 5'5", even who are 6 feet, now that person has an advantage. That person will always bring that advantage to the court. Why? Because that person towers above everybody else. It's an advantage that will be difficult for others to replicate. That's what principles are. You need leverage. You want to excel in life. In any area of life, you need leverage. You need to have leverage. You need to be in command of leverage. And the principles, when you have principles that back up anything, that gives you leverage. Why? Many people don't operate by principles anyway. It's often the difference between those who succeed and those who fail. So you can see there the sources from which you draw compelling, practical, personal advantage to achieve your life goals and exercise greater control over the outcome of your life or your life's outcomes is what we call leverage. Now, we said that parables, the parables of Christ, they put before us, into our hands, principles. They put principles into our hands. Now, why are those parables? Why do they give you personal leverage? Why do they put that leverage in your hands? And this is one of the reasons why it is important that we pay attention to parables. This is one of the reasons it is important because it's a source of leverage. And we have said that if we want to succeed, we need to command leverage. We need to command leverage. Now, the parables of Jesus were carefully, intentionally, strategically, and actively employed by him to teach the core principles for understanding life and how to take charge, how to navigate, and how to succeed in life. Okay? You see, my choice of words are very deliberate, but I believe they are pretty accurate. Carefully selected principles, intentionally, because they were supposed to achieve a purpose. They were supposed to empower us to put the keys of how to succeed in life into our hands. Strategically whenever people were in a problem and he wanted to solve that problem, he would teach that. He would bring up a parable. So the parables were strategic. He was strategic in the use of them, and he used them actively. He always used the parables. So we need to understand them. And they are all about life. They are all about different, spheres of life. How we can take charge, how we can navigate, and how we can succeed in life. I'm sure that's what you want to do. That's what I want to do for sure. And that's why I would not, joke with these parables. That's why I don't joke with these parables. Okay? That's why I don't joke with these parables. And you shouldn't joke with them as well. It's a great source of empowerment. So, what are these parables? What are these parables? Okay? What are these parables? Now, they are stories that teach core principles of life. They are stories that teach core principles of life. Those stories draw from practical aspects of our day-to-day living. Things that you and I can relate to and can comprehend. All right? Very important. They teach core principles. You may look at them as stories. If you look at them as stories, you have missed it. But those stories is like wrapping something that is very important, all right, packaging it in a way that people can easily appreciate, all right? But it is only those who pay attention to it, those who take interest in it, those who really want to know what is hidden in that package, that will get, the secret. That's why even when some people listen to the parables, they don't understand what it means. And if you don't understand something, you cannot apply it. You can't take advantage of it. All right. So you see parables as expressions. They are expressions. The stories are expressions of core life principles. They are hidden in mere stories. The principles are hidden inside stories, but those stories you can relate to them. Those stories you can relate to them. A parable says a sower went out to sow. We can relate to them. All of us know that we've heard about farming. We know what farming entails. We have seen farmers. A sower went out to sow. You can relate to that. And he planted seed in the ground, and he watered them. Some didn't grow, some grew, some were overtaken by weeds and all of that. We can relate to that. But what is the message? They are hidden in that. Is a fundamental principle of life. If you lay hold on that principle and you apply it, I guarantee you will succeed. You will get the benefits that principle, promises. You will get the benefits that principle promises. Now, let's look at what I call the parables bank. The parables bank. What do we mean by the parables bank? The parables bank refers to the parables bank refers to it refers to the collection of parables of Jesus, the collection of the parables of Jesus. And those parables are 38. There are 38 of that, 38 parables. Widely agreed, the parables of Jesus are 38. Okay, let me say something about these parables. Now, it's a must for us to know the parables. Why do I say that? Jesus himself said that when he told one parable, the parable of the sower, and his people were asking him questions, he wondered, he said to them, if you don't understand this parable, how can you understand all other parables? How can you understand all other parables? That statement meant that you need to understand this parable and you need to understand all other parables. So I am not telling these parables for fun. I am telling these parables because you need to understand them. I am telling these parables because they will benefit you. I am telling these parables because you cannot succeed without these parables. You can't succeed without these parables. Okay? So is a must for us to know. All parables are important. All are important. There is no parable that is more important than the other. He said, how will you understand all other parables? That is, it's important to understand all other parables. If it's important to understand all parables, then it means that one parable is not more important than the others. So if it's only one parable, you know you are not there yet. If it's two, you know you are not there yet. You need to have an understanding, and I will show you why. Now, all parables are empowering. Every parable you know empowers you. Why? Because inside every parable is at least one principle that you can take advantage of. All right, so the parables are empowering. So the more parables you know, the more empowered you would be. The more parables you know, the more in control of your situations you would be. The more parables you know, the better the outcomes that you would get. It will differentiate you. Knowledge is a differentiator. It says, those who know their God, they will be strong and they will do exploits. Knowledge is always a differentiator. All right. So if you apply it in this case, it will work for you. It will produce for you. It will distinguish you. It will differentiate you. And it will put into your hands the things that you desire. Some parables are foundational. You need to know that before you know the other. You need to know that so that you can appreciate the other. You need to know that so that you can take advantage of the other. Look at that statement that I mentioned. He said to them, if you don't know these parables, how will you know all other parables? That is, it's important you know this parable because your ability to understand other parables is based on this one. You must understand this one first. If you don't understand this one, you won't understand the others. You will shortchange yourself. Don't try to understand others before understanding this one. All right. So you see, some parables are foundational. That means there are others that are building blocks on those foundations. On those foundations. And the wise man, one of the parables, by the way, is the parable of the wise and the foolish builder. The wise ones are the ones who build their houses on the rock. They have a solid foundation. They didn't put the foundation on top of the blocks. They put the foundation where it's supposed to be. And we need to respect that even in our exploration of the same set of parables. The parables are not mutually exclusive. What that means is this: one parable does not make another parable, ineffective. Okay? One parable does not make another parable irrelevant. So every parable has its place. Every parable is useful. In fact, if you look at the next point I make, parables are mutually reinforcing. So if you know one and you know another, all right, it helps you in the totality of your understanding and it strengthens you. Let me give you an idea. If you look at the parable of the sower, and we're going to look at some of these parables, over the course of the 10 days to see how they apply to specific areas of our lives. If you look at the parable of the sower, what does it tell you? It tells you how a sower can sow seeds in order to get a harvest. All right. But if you look at, there is the parable of the tares, Tares, or the parable of the weeds. It's also called the parable of the weeds, where it talks about, when men slept, an enemy, somebody came and planted weeds, all right, among the crop. You understand? The first parable didn't talk about somebody coming to plant weeds, but it talks about the process that you need to follow to get a good harvest, to get profit from whatever you do. But the other parable calls your attention to the fact that, wait a minute, you will have situations where you are doing your work and the people are, what do you call it? Encroaching. Okay? People are encroaching. So when you have an understanding of the two, you can follow the process that is specified to reap a harvest, and then using your knowledge of the other, you can make adequate provision to forestall somebody coming in surreptitiously to undermine what you have done. Somebody who doesn't have that knowledge will not be able to put the insurance in place or do the things that will prevent somebody else from coming to scuttle what they have done. And to that extent, they can be undermined. Their growth, their results, their achievements can be undermined. They can be frustrated. So some of these parables are mutually reinforcing. And then finally, life situations often require a combination of parables. So these parables give you wholesome understanding so that different scenarios, as they present themselves, you can respond appropriately to them. You can respond appropriately, to them. Now, let me quickly just run through what I call the parables bank, the list of parables. We're not going to be looking through all of them. We're going to look in detail, into each one of them in the follow-on program, which is called Profit from Parables, the boot camp, which is starting next month. But this is just to give you an overview of the various parables. It should double your memory, and for some who have never looked at them as a set of 38, you can get that perspective from the list that is being shared now. That's, you have the parable of the sower, the parable of the weeds, the parable of the good Samaritan, the parable of the lost sheep, the parable of the mustard seed, the parable of the talents, the parable of the forgiving servant, and the parable of the great banquet. You have, other parables as well. They are listed: the 10 virgins, the lost coin, the hidden treasure, the workers in the vineyard, the growing seed. Like we said, 38 of them. The parable of the leaven, the parable of the prodigal son. Many of us have had that. The parable of the persistent widow. We have had that. Rich man and Lazarus. The parable of the lamp. Some can remember that as well. The parable of the rich fool, the fishing net, the friend in need, the wise builder, the Pharisee and the tax collector. There is another parable of the two sons. So you have, those various parables. Every one of them interesting. Some are shorter than the other. Some are longer than the other. But every one of them, is interesting. Every one of them, like I said, is empowering. They have what they put in your hands. Now, make note of this, please. Make note of this. All the empowerment that you need, that I need to develop and to grow in life, as we pursue and attain our goals in life, they are hidden in these parables. If you can truly empower yourself with the principles, with the gems, with the secrets that are contained in these parables, it will change your approach to life. It will change the perspective that you have. It will change your attitude to various endeavors, and it will put in you a special ability, all right, to exercise control over your situations, to exercise control over your situations. I wanted to make that. And remember, there is nothing new under the sun. There is nothing new under the sun. Okay? There is no challenge, number two, that you face that isn't common to man. No challenge. All right? And these parables were used to solve different challenges, different problems. Okay? And so don't say that, well, this was many years ago. No. Yes, it is many years ago. The parable was of the sower was given many years ago, but we're still planting today. We're still using seed today. We're still following the same process today, 2,000 years after the parables were told. So they are relevant. Why? There is nothing new under the sun. There's no problem you are facing that people have not faced before, and those problems were solved. And they were solved because, certain principles were applied. They were solved because certain principles were applied. So no problem will ever prove stronger than, or prove to be obstinate towards, a principle that exists to solve it. As long as there's a principle that exists to solve a problem, that problem will be solved if you engage the principle and you engage it the way that it should be engaged. Bear that in mind. If you bear that in mind, that alone will change your approach. That alone can begin to make your hustle, as we say, easier. All right. Just that perspective, based on the fact that, look, this is what these parables have been put in our hands, to accomplish. And that's precisely, what we should commit ourselves to do. That's what we're trying to do with these sessions. I'm going to close shortly. We're actually running over our 45 minutes here, but it's all good. I believe, the VIP will accommodate. They will still, wherever I stop, they're still going to have, access to their 45 extra minutes. But let me just draw. Let's answer this question, and then we'll halt, and we'll continue, tomorrow, when we will look at the first application of the parables. We'll look at them in the context of, career growth, our career growth aspirations. Why should you draw from parables? Why should you draw from parables? Why are they so important? They are an indispensable resource. Parables are an indispensable resource. Why? Jesus didn't do without them. We're told he never taught without them. How can somebody who all that he did while he was here was to teach and to heal, to teach and to solve problems? All right. And every time the same Bible told us he never taught without using parables. So parables were the cornerstone, of his operation. The cornerstone of his operation. Now, if somebody like that was so successful, so impactful, that was, larger than life, that had undeniable results, did not, if the parables were such a core aspect of the way he conducted his activities, why would you and I want to ignore them? It should tell us that there are things hidden in those parables. If we understand them, if we can unveil those things and we can put them to use, we will operate at his own frequency as well. All right. So it's meant to be an indispensable resource for us. If we did not do without them, we shouldn't do without them. Also, number two, they are answers to the mysteries of life. They are answers to the mysteries of life. He himself said, look, these parables, they are mysteries. Hidden in there are mysteries. That's why some people may understand the story, but they don't get the gist, the true gist, the mystery of it. And you must get the mystery, because life is about mysteries. There is mystery to life. Some things you can't understand until you accept that this is how things work in life. All right? And it's in your best interest to follow them. But you must be able to uncover those mysteries. All right? So you see, you must draw from parables if you want to operate in an atmosphere that is mysterious, which life is. Jesus spoke these parables not for his own benefit. He spoke the parables for our own benefit, for your benefit, for my benefit. All right? If we spoke them for our benefit, why should we turn our back on the same parables? Wouldn't that be foolish on our part to turn our back on something that was given for our benefit? What we should be doing is to say, look, there's a reason this man gave us this thing. Let's dig deep and uncover the reason so that we can take advantage of it. That way, we can fulfill the purpose and not be seen as prodigal ourselves. Okay, again, you see the application of one of the we are required to understand them. We're required to understand them. I've spoken to that. He said, if you don't understand this, how will you understand all other parables? So we're required to understand them. Okay, and so it shows that they are that important. These parables quench our thirst. They are intended to quench our thirst and to give us great outcomes in life. All right? To quench the things that want to undermine the outcomes, that we like to achieve in life. What do I mean? What did he say? He said, if any man thirst, let him come. He said, let him come to me and drink. All right? And what is he going to drink? His parables, his word. Okay? What he has on offer is what, they're going to drink. He said, come and drink. If you are thirsty, if you are thirsty for results, if you want to see things you have not seen before, okay, come. All right? Now, also, he said, come unto me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Come and learn from me. Let me show you how these things are done. That's the teacher in him that was speaking. Again, showing us that, look, these things are important for us for this purpose. Okay? For this purpose. And then they represent light. And we know what the Bible tells us. It said in him was light. That light shines in darkness, and darkness cannot understand it. That is the empowerment that you get. You have such understanding that it will be difficult for any obstacle to prevent you from achieving what you want to achieve. When you truly have command of principles, it will be very difficult for you not to get the results that those principles promise. Why? Because situations cannot, not, or, it's difficult for something to derail somebody who is following a principle. If the person understands the principle very well, they cannot be derailed. They can't be derailed. It will be very, very difficult. And then, of course, he gave us a warning. The first parable that he told was the parable of the sower. And when he said that, he now gave a caveat. He gave a warning. And many of us often make reference to that, perhaps without considering how significant that warning is. Perhaps without considering how significant that warning is. And he said, whoever has ears, let him hear. Whoever has ears, let him hear. That's the first that he said. After a while, he then said, be careful how you hear. So it's not just that you should pay attention. It's in your best interest. You have a choice. If you like, disregard it. He won't be the loser. Remember, he said these things for our benefit. So if you don't pay attention to it, you lose. Maybe that's why you are faced with all the challenges. Maybe that's why you're not getting the kind of outcomes that you would like to get, because you're not engaging the principles, because you're not committing yourself, to unveiling the principles. Okay? But he said when you pay attention, you must be careful also how you pay attention. I will be speaking to that subsequently so you understand what that truly means. What he's saying is that there is a way to pay attention so that this thing I am saying can benefit you, so that you can get the result. I will show you what that means, at our next session. So basically, let me, stop here for today. From what I have said, you can see that the parables are, resources. It's a pool of resources given to us, okay, so that we can benefit. A pool of resources given to us so that we can benefit in different areas, of our life. Tomorrow, I will start off talking about the first module, where we're going to be looking at how those parables help us to grow our careers, how the parables help us to grow, our careers. That's what we'll be discussing tomorrow. Same time, 9:30 p.m. West African time. For those who may have gotten the timing mixed up, through some other channels of communication, I think some said 10, p.m., but I think for the most part, most people would have seen 9:30 p.m. So sorry about that, but if you have joined at a later time, bear with us. But you can always check my YouTube channel for the replay of the video. So over the course of the next 9 days, tomorrow's session will be on career growth. That will be followed by the session on business growth. That will be followed by the session on relationship building. That will be followed by the session on leadership. And then, that will be followed by managing our finances, how parables can help us to do that. That will be followed also by the session on managing investments. What are the parables that are relevant for that purpose and how are they relevant? That will be followed by the session, another day to focus on character development. And we will look at the set of parables also that can be useful for that. Then the next day would be on healthy living, and then the next day will also be on supernatural living, or if you like, how to to build up your spirit man. So let me stop here for today. I hope it has been of great benefit to you. I will recap some of the things I said and add a few more, when you join tomorrow, as we set the stage for the discussion on career growth. So thank you very much for joining. I will be signing off, here for the free session. The VIP session continues, and we'll take the discussions further. And for those at the VIP, another 45 minutes, we'll take questions. You can ask questions directly. Like we said, if you still are interested in joining the VIP, you can do that by scanning the code on your screen, and that will take you to the site where you can effect the payment. And doing that, you will be able to join. You will be sent a special Zoom link that will enable you to join the VIP segment of the class. All right. Thank you very much once again for joining today. I believe it's been a great time. I appreciate you for, setting aside your time. I think is night, perhaps for most of us. But I believe that you would see that it's time worth, well invested. And this is just a tip of the iceberg. It's only the beginning. There is so much more that we have lined up, as you would have seen over the course of the next 9 days. So see you tomorrow by the grace of God. The time will be 9:30 p.m. West African time. Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.